Good morning, students. Hope you are safe and sound in your houses. In our earlier discussion of chapter number 8, we had seen that how Razia Sultan ruled over Delhi, and after her death, the next ruler who was enthroned as the ruler was Nasiruddin, who ruled for 21 years. And after his death, after the rule of Nasiruddin, Gyazuddin Balban ruled over Delhi. And as his descendants were very weak, this dynasty, slave dynasty, came to an end. And the next ruler was from Khilji dynasty. That was Alauddin Khilji. The next dynasty which ruled Delhi was the Khilji dynasty. Within 4 years of Balban's death, the Khilji dynasty established its rule over Delhi. The Turk community who belonged to Khilji in Afghanistan was known as Khiljis. Jalaluddin Khilji brought an end to the slave dynasty and in its place founded the Khilji dynasty. In 1296 CE, Alauddin Khilji, who was both his nephew and son-in-law, overthrew Jalaluddin and became the ruler of Delhi. He was very ambitious, so as we all come to know from this chapter that Alauddin Khilji was very ambitious. He wanted to conquer the whole world like Alexander the Great. He controlled the interference of ulemas and umraus. Now, what are these ulemas and umraus? They are the scholars of the king's court. In the state administration, Alauddin Khilji framed strict rules to control prices. As the prices of different commodities were soaring high, he had framed strict laws to control the prices of different commodities. The famous poet Amir Khusro, whose works were well known at that time, he beautified his court. There was complete disorder in the kingdom after his death, and the Tughlaq dynasty established its power, replacing the Khilji dynasty. So, as Alauddin Khilji was ruling over India, there was too much disorder, and the next ruler was from the Tughlaq dynasty. So, we come to the Tughlaq dynasty. The next dynasty which ruled over India was the Tughlaqs. Gyazuddin Tughlaq founded the Tughlaq dynasty within 4 years after the death of Alauddin Khilji. Back then, the Dak Chowki, the postal services was started in his time. The letters were carried by horse riders. Postmen were referred to as Halkaro at that time. Muhammad Tughlaq became the Sultan after Gyazuddin. Many of the decisions that he took were criticized. Among these, the two main plans were the transfer of capital from Delhi to Daulatabad and introducing the use of copper currency. So these were the two main topics, two main decisions to be taken by the king during that time: the transfer of capital from Delhi to Daulatabad and the introduction of copper currency in the state. During Muhammad Tughlaq's reign, during his rule, Ibn Battuta, an African traveler from Tangier belonging to the Habshi tribe, African tribe, visited India. Criticizing the Sultan's administration, he has written that Muhammad Shah's rule was an amalgamation of both good and bad administrative policies. Now, children, what do we mean by amalgamation? The combination, the mixture of both good and bad administrative policies. So, with the rule of this Tughlaq dynasty, which kingdoms came up? The Hindu kingdom of Vijayanagar. We can see the picture of Vijayanagar in the textbook. During the Sultanate periods, there were attempts to establish authority over South India. So, these sultans, these kings of the Tughlaq dynasty also conquered South India. Alauddin Khilji was the first ruler to launch an attack. He carried away enormous wealth from Devgiri. Subsequently, after him, Malik Kafur destroyed the kingdom of Varangal. The condition of South India worsened during the time of Muhammad Tughlaq. So, when Muhammad Tughlaq ruled over Delhi, the situation worsened. Simultaneously, the Hindu empire of Vijayanagar and the Bahmani Sultanate were also established in South India. After the defeat of the ruler of Varangal, the two brothers of the Jadhav clan, Harihara and Bhuka, established the Vijayanagar kingdom under the inspiration of Swami Vidaranya. The Vijayanagar kingdom was established in the south of Tungabhadra river in 1336 CE. Within a short period of 8 years, the kingdom was extended from the river Tungabhadra to Kanyakumari in the south. Bhuka ascended the throne after the death of Harihara. His descendants being weak, a new dynasty came to power. Krishnadevaraya was a powerful ruler of this dynasty, of the Tughlaq dynasty. So, Krishnadevaraya's rule flourished in South India. So, we come to know that in South India, Tughlaq dynasty, from the Tughlaq dynasty, Krishnadevaraya's rule flourished in South India. He had good relations with the Europeans and was a lover of art and literature. Then, he constructed canals in South India, and with the help of an engineer called Yomke, foreign travelers who visited Vijayanagar have appreciated its grandeur. So, the canals which were constructed in South India with the help of the engineer Yomke, these pieces were appreciated for their grandeur. There were grand temples and forts in the kingdom. This glorious state was destroyed in the Battle of Talai Kota. So, there was the battle among the Tughlaqs, and then came the Bahmani Sultanate. The Amirs in the Deccan Rebellion, Hassan, one of the efficient Amirs, became the Sultan and founded the Bahmani Sultanate there. Muhammad Gawan was a capable minister and an efficient administrator of the Bahmani Sultanate. He won many territories and extended the boundaries of the Bahmani kingdom. The power of Bahmani Sultanate weakened after his death, and then came the downfall. There were many conflicts, and due to the inner conflicts, this sultanate also had a downfall. And with this we come to the end of Delhi Sultanate. Firoz Shah Tughlaq ascended the throne after Muhammad Tughlaq. However, from that time onwards, the Delhi Sultanate began to weaken. The reign of the Tughlaq dynasty also witnessed the invasion and plunder of Delhi by Taimur, one of the plunderer which invaded India. He also was an Arab and he plundered India. The governor of Lahore, Khiraj Khan, took advantage of the chaos and established the Sayyid dynasty in Delhi. The authority of these sultans was limited to the reign around Delhi. In 1451 CE, an Afghan leader Bahlol established the rule of Lodi dynasty in Delhi. His son Sikandar ascended the throne after this. Though Sikandar had qualities of a good ruler, he lacked religious tolerance. We can say that he could not have patience. A struggle for the throne began after his death, in which Ibrahim Lodi defeated his elder brother and became the ruler of Delhi. The Amirs were not happy because of his arrogant attitude. There was rebellion in the kingdom against his rule. Babur, the emperor of Kabul, invaded Delhi at this time. He defeated Ibrahim Lodi in the Battle of Panipat in 1526 CE and founded the Mughal Empire, which lasted for approximately 200 years. So, after the Battle of Panipat, he founded the Mughal Empire, which lasted for approximately 200 years. So, children, let us summarize this chapter. Delhi during the medieval period. In the beginning, it was the slave dynasty which ruled India, which ruled over Delhi, wherein we had the slaves like the Qutbuddin Aibak. First it was Muhammad Ghori, then was the Qutbuddin Aibak, Altamish, and then Razia Sultan. After these, then came Nasruddin, Ghiazuddin Balban. With this, the slave dynasty came to an end, and Khilji dynasty, the ruler who ruled the Khilji dynasty was Alauddin Khilji, who was an able and powerful administrator and ruler. As his descendants were very weak, they could not rule the country, they could not rule over Delhi, and so the Tughlaqs took over the power, and from then onwards the Tughlaq dynasty came to power and ruled over Delhi. Tughlaq dynasty was ruled by the Tughlaqs, Malik Kafur, and many other great rulers, and Krishna Dev Raya, who was ruling in South India, established his power. And in this way, Tughlaq dynasty, after his rule, came to an end, and the Bahmani Sultanate established its rule in the Deccan. And Muhammad Gawan was also an able administrator. So, after his rule, the Firoz Shah Tughlaq ascended the throne after Muhammad Tughlaq, and then after the Battle of Panipat, the Mughal Empire ruled over India for 200 years. So first it was the slave dynasty, and then was the Khilji dynasty, the third came the Tughlaq dynasty, and the last was the Mughal Empire, which ruled for 200 years. So with this we come to the end of chapter number 8. Hope you have understood the various dynasties which ruled over Delhi during the 12th and the 13th century in the medieval period. So children, go through the textbook and go through the video very carefully, and if you have any doubts, we will be solving in our live session. Till then, thank you.